If you go into an interview here, don't expect to go into an interview there and see the same person. Be ready to maneuver, be flexible and malleable to whoever you're speaking with, and you'll go a long way. Welcome back to the Same Business, Different Day podcast. My name is Zeke Corley here at the Film Hub in fabulous, sunny, hot Vista, California today. It is beautiful. It's a beautiful spring day, and we kind of have a unique episode for you guys today. So this is very exciting. Today, my guest is Nicolina Betmalo. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Zeke.
Absolutely. The reason I say it's unique, I mean, we talk about the journeys, obviously, and you guys know how this show goes. We want to talk about this whole journey for all of these successful business people, where they are today, and have other people kind of trace those steps and figure out, do I want to follow that path or do I want to do something a little bit different? But at least get to see these stories and figure out where they would go in those situations. In this particular situation, Nicolina is a college student.
Yes.
So we'll still talk about the beginnings, but we're obviously not talking about the end yet. Maybe we'll talk about some goals, but let's start here, and then it's going to get even more unique a little bit later, but you'll see how that goes. So, Nicolina, we'll start just as we usually do. Where were you born?
So I was born in San Jose, California.
Hometown?
Yes. Born and raised there for all my life, 19 years old. So moved over here, San Marcos, about 2022 to come and do school over here at Cal State San Marcos. Currently in my second year right now, focusing on marketing. So it's been nice. Initially, it wasn't my first option getting over here.
We'll start back. I want to go back.
Okay.
Because we're getting ahead. I want to know, like, even San Jose, like, what was it like growing up there? I'm from San Jose. You know, I claim San Jose. I lived in a lot of cities before San Jose, but I went to 8th grade and high school in San Jose.
Awesome.
But what I want to know is like what you wanted to be when you grew up. Do you remember? Do you have any memories of that?
First thing that comes to mind, honestly, I felt like the possibilities, it was kind of a new thing every day, just because I had so much support from my parents. They'd be like, you could be whatever you want to be, lawyer, doctor. They wanted a lawyer because I like to argue. And so that was kind of up there for a minute. But I felt like I could do anything, honestly, that I wanted to do. And I still have that mindset, and I'm just kind of still trying to figure out what exactly I want to be when I grow up, because I have a lot to grow into. But
so no one was really forcing you to do any particular thing. They were allowing you to figure out what you wanted to be when you grew up.
Exactly. It was more like I'm recommending that, you look into this path.
How about education focus? Were they saying no matter what you do, you got to go to school, or were they saying you didn't have to?
Yeah, for that, they really wanted me to finish up high school, get my diploma, and go to a 4-year. So seeing them, or them seeing me come over here, was really, really nice.
Did you have siblings, older siblings?
Yeah, I have a younger sister. So she's 17. So it was kind of hard leaving her, because it was her, like, all of her senior things were going on. But I still made sure to go to her senior night for cheer and things like that. I tried to be there and keep in contact with my family as much as I can. Although we are in the same state, which I'm so thankful for. The drive is quite some time. So sometimes we do drive, like coming back home for the holidays, or when school ended last semester. That was a long drive, but it's nice. I do have family in Los Angeles, so it's a happy medium where I can go over there when I'm feeling a little homesick. So it's nice. Yeah.
Okay, younger sibling. Is she tracing in your footsteps, or like this is her senior year in high school?
Yes. So she's about to finish up. She's looking more into doing a community college, or San Jose State. So she's in between that right now. Not too sure yet what exactly, but I
But
believe
she wants to stay close.
She wants to stay. Yeah, she's the younger one, and obviously my mom she wants her baby to be home. So I get it, but I let her know that I'm over here, and like it'd be nice if we were both over here as well.
So what was high school like for you? What school did you? What school?
Pioneer.
You went to Pioneer.
Yeah, Pioneer. High school was cool. It was pretty diverse, and there were definitely a lot of different outlets for like different clubs and things like that. I remember during COVID, I believe it was the BLM club when all those protests were going on and things like that. I got involved with that. I am Middle Eastern, so I believe there was some sort of club, but nothing too much where I felt I needed to put myself in there, or it'd be yeah, I just
There's a good population of Middle Easterners though in San Jose.
Yeah, there are. It's at school. I knew a handful of people, but to slim it down, like specifically Assyrians.
Yeah,
that's where I kind of had a little bit of a harder time finding those types of people. Although Middle Eastern cultures, like within like the whole itself, are very similar. Yeah. It's just different to really have those people who have been through kind of the same, like, like for example, when people ask what I am, they're usually like, "Oh, are you Arab? Are you Persian?" But I have to correct them oftentimes, which is completely understandable because not many people know about Assyrians.
Yeah. If you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So it's also kind of nice too, letting people know like what I am and where I'm from and things like that. Because not every day you meet an Assyrian. It's pretty rare. We kind of are like, I hate to say it, a dying or like we're going kind of extinct with our population. Just we're very
Is
slim.
That true?
Yeah,
it's a dwindling population.
Yeah, a lot of people do. There are Syrians and Assyrians, but very
different.
Yeah. But yeah, I had my fair share of we had a Syrian church nearby, so I kind of know people who went to Leland. Also had some.
That's my high school, and one of my buddies was a Syrian.
No way! See, how cool is that? Yeah. So I did know some people over there, as well as I had like a family member that went to my high school as well. So that was cool. We could always we grew up together, and it was nice to talk about things.
So you did have a sense of community.
Yes, I did. It was more towards the ends of high school that I started to really look into that. Like growing up middle school, I kind of felt like I didn't want to be a part of my culture. I didn't want to.
You're trying to fit in.
Exactly. I didn't want to identify as Assyrian, or if I didn't have the knowledge I have now on my culture and how cool it is to be Assyrian at that age. So I kind of was like, whatever. I'm Persian, whatever you want to call it. I fall under that category. But so it was not until a little bit later that I really like appreciated.
So did you find other sense of community anywhere else, like sports or?
So I played soccer, and that one, not many. I don't think any other Middle Easterns were on the team during that time.
But you had friends on the team.
I had friends on the team. Yeah. They were cool. I really wanted to be, not that I felt excluded, but I wanted to feel more included than I already was. So it wasn't anything weird or I don't know about that, but it was just I wanted to feel as secure as I could because I didn't feel that connection with my own people. Sure. I felt as if it was like I'm too whitewashed to be with my Assyrian people, or I didn't know the language as well. And so it was kind of hard to communicate with my elders. Like my grandparents, they speak Assyrian. So they'd encourage me to speak. But it's always just kind of hard when you're trying to learn a language and someone like corrects you, and it's all nice and good heart, but you also kind of feel a little like, maybe I should just cut back on that.
The language is easier when you're younger.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's hard. Now I am going to try and get back into that because it's honestly so cool knowing multiple languages. So, but
absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. So now you get through high school, and at what point do you start trying to figure out where you want to go to school? Like, is this during your junior year? Are you doing well in school? And then getting letters or starting to kind of try to figure out?
Yeah.
Like, how does that
So,
process?
it was kind of junior year. That's when I believe the SAT and ACTs were going around, but I think that's when they stopped. It wasn't mandatory. So that was kind of a relief on our end, being the class of 2022. We were like, oh, we got COVID, online. COVID was obviously miserable, but being online, it was kind of
Did you do a whole
easier.
online school year?
It was all through Zoom, and it was just kind of regularly scheduled as if the classes we were.
Tough, though.
Yeah, it was
crazy.
It was definitely something. But luckily, we have the technology we do today to go ahead and do that. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. Like, as a generation, we have like little inside jokes, like what it was like leaving your Zoom on, or I would have sometimes my sister, she'd be on my Zoom when I had to like go run to the store or something like that. And I'm like, let me know if my professor is chatting or whatever. But so it's just funny, like having those little things with like your peers, and not many people can relate who aren't going through that. Yeah, So
my daughter was her sophomore year, so that means it must have been your freshman year. No, your junior year in high school was. When was the year when you were doing online?
It was junior year.
It was junior year.
Yeah. So we had that. Junior year is like the toughest year, so we had that online, which was cool. And then also the ACT, SAT, that one had been not mandatory, as I said before. And then
that's when they dropped the requirement.
Yeah, and then luckily when it came to our senior year, prom and all that, graduation, it was people were lifting some things on regarding COVID
restrictions.
Yeah. So we kind of got lucky with our timing. Obviously, COVID, not really.
Did you have any nerves about how they'd be looking at transcripts or anything like that, considering the COVID year? I mean,
yeah, it was kind of because like with sports and things like that, or clubs, it was kind of hard. But as I'd mentioned before, there were options like just like classes, like club meetings online, and we kind of tried to put the word out about when a lot of those protests were going on during that time. So we kind of made do with what we could, but it was kind of hard because you can't get into too many things and put so much, in your letters that you're writing, or to the schools that you want to get into. But ultimately, it worked out in my favor because I'm over here now. But
okay. So what went into making the decision to go to Cal State?
Honestly, it was more of because I knew I wanted to get involved with business. At first, I was like, I have no idea what I really want to do, but I do see myself in that area. So I was like, okay, business, you can kind of get that. Most schools have that. So it was more location for me, and kind of I've been very independent since I was younger, so I kind of wanted to be on my own. So moving from Northern California to Southern California.
Had you been to Southern California before?
I had spent previous summers in Los Angeles. Not so much San Diego though, but I initially was really intrigued by the San Diego State lifestyle that was over there. So I that was kind of like my dream school as far as like location and like the social life and all that. That was another factor for me, being able to really connect with everybody in my community. I really wanted that. So I did look over at CSUN, which is Northridge in Los Angeles, but I heard mixed reviews. So it was between Northridge, Cal State San Marcos, and San Diego State. So then I got rejected from San Diego State, and then I got accepted to CSUN, but I didn't want to go there. So I was kind of like, oh, and I had heard from my cousin, who she's a year older than me. She goes to Cal State San Marcos. So I remember one of the summers that I had spent in LA, I was helping her shop for her dorm, and I was like, what school are you even going to? I've never heard of this. Like, oh, it's like this Cal State, it's in San Marcos, kind of like near San Diego. And I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. And funny to find out, like a year later, I was going to be texting her and being like, guess what? I'm coming to your school. So it was cool. Full circle moment for sure. But.
And I've heard great things. I mean, I spent some time over there just with the Chamber of Commerce, which is actually right there in North City. And then I know the dorms. I know my daughter visited there, and she really liked how it was set up.
Yes,
It's a
and
great community.
it's so nice. And honestly, I'm so glad that I did get rejected from San Diego State because I have friends there.
Not the same.
It's not the same. I have friends there I visit, and I know I only visit on the weekends when the fun stuff's going down. But I think with the academics over there, I think Cal State San Marcos was a better fit for me for sure. There's just so many resources, and the school's very helpful as far as like their COBA business. It's just like lots of resources, and they're very helpful with.
It's good.
Join us, Couples Unfiltered, the podcast where we have intricate conversations with very interesting couples from all walks of life.
We delve into the profound difficulties these couples have faced and how they've overcome despite.
These are genuine couples with genuine stories, and we're so excited to be able to share their wealth of knowledge with you.
That's Couples Unfiltered. Listen wherever you get your podcasts.
This podcast is brought to you by YourInsurancePlace.com. Owning a business is hard work. You put your blood, sweat, and tears into it every single day. You need a partner who understands the ins and outs of insuring small to medium-sized businesses. For over 40 years, our California Property and Casualty Insurance Agency has insured businesses just like yours. We've seen it all, and we've learned a thing or two about what it takes to keep your business protected. That's why we offer free policy assessments. We'll take a look at your policy and let you know if there are any gaps in your coverage. Let us help you to protect what you've worked so hard to build. YourInsurancePlace.com.
Okay, so the first year went well for you?
First year went good. Lived on campus. It was nice. The campus itself is beautiful, so that was really helpful.
Sure.
You know, wanting to go outside and walk down court. It was nice. It really made me want to get up and go to class in the morning.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So that was.
I hear
really...
there's a big hill though.
That one. Yeah. That was dreadful living on campus. Now I live off campus, so I just have to drive to my the parking lot. But that was kind of after I'd committed to San Marcos. My mom was kind of like, are you sure you want to go there? Like, there's lots of stairs. And it does sound funny, but at the time, I was kind of struggling a lot with my back issue, which is spinal stenosis.
Okay.
So that would flare up oftentimes when I would be walking too much, not wearing the right shoes, just basic little things that you just kind of look over at my age and you're just like, whatever, I'll deal with it when it comes, you know? But fortunately for me, that kind of came a little sooner than expected. So it was kind of like really iffy. My mom was like, I don't know if I want you all the way down there. Like, no one's going to be that close to you. So she was a little nervous as far as that. And the hill was definitely, it did limit some of my day-to-day things, like going to class. I wouldn't be able to go sometimes, and I'd have to email my professors and things like that. And I started getting involved with the DSS, which is the disability service at our school. So it would be easier to communicate with my professors when I couldn't go because of my back issue. But during that time as well, there was a fellow peer who also had been posting. She was disabled and I believed used a wheelchair. And there is wheelchair accessibility at the school. It's kind of like in random spots. Like you could get there, but it kind of, you need to time it out. Time management has to be really a good factor there because it's not going to be the same as everybody else going to class, you know? So that was kind of hard. She started a petition in regards to that, trying to get a shuttle from down at the dorms up to campus, which was really cool. So me and her kind of talked about that. I believe that is still in the works, but it was cool to kind of see someone else and talk with someone else who feels what I'm going through. And I luckily have overcome, and I had a lot of support from friends. And
congratulations. Okay, so then you get into you have a business focus, and then you get into this program that I heard about Business 300.
Yeah.
Now, Business 300, I didn't know anything about it. I've heard that some people are over there and they're mentoring and all. But one day we were just at a mixer, And I'm told that there's going to be a lot of students there that want to do some networking, and they're all prepared with their elevator pitch. And they want to, help meeting other people or meeting the right people. And that's where you and I met.
Yes.
I met a few of your peers and tried to introduce them to the people that they needed to meet. So tell us about the Business 300 program a little bit, and what it is what you're required to do, what you're being asked to do.
Sure, yeah. So Business 300, professional development, business professional development, that class is kind of just focused around being in a safe space, safe environment, and being able to learn how to send an email professionally, get your resume in order, cover letters, just kind of the basics you kind of need going into the business world, or upper division classes for the third year, which I'm going to be applying for those classes. So that's just kind of where we're learning how to do everything kind of professionally. So for instance, we have like weekly discussions, and we'll have some reading material, and we'll just that'll kind of cover how you should go about speaking with your boss, or just things like that, just so you're prepared for, internships and in the future, what career path you eventually go on. So that's kind of, it's like stepping stones right now. That's kind of the first class. And I'm so glad that I came across that class, because last year I was so confused as to what I wanted to do. And I was like, is there something that like can kind of help me, or like, let me know what I need to do in order to get from point A to point B.
Yeah.
So I was kind of worried, and I was like, I'm taking my general like classes right now, and it's all cool and stuff, but like, when am I really going to get down to, the business part of it? And then I had seen Business 300, and I was like, oh, this is exactly what I need. Yeah, like everything from down to the basics to putting it into works in the real world. So I was really lucky to find that class and be a part of it, which I am currently in now. And
that's great. Yeah, I mean, it's like one of the themes of the show is that even if you don't know what other focus you might get into business at least, right? Because business is all around us. So there are many aspects of it which you're learning. So what is it that they're requiring you to do? What are they asking you to do for this project?
So for this project, I believe it is for our final. We've been working on it kind of since the beginning of the semester. We were grouped into groups from 4 to 6 people, kind of all within the same realm or same area of focus in business. So my group, we're focusing on marketing. So we are required to interview about 5 people who are in business or business marketing or sale. We're doing kind of sales and in our presentation as well.
Okay.
So just find 5 people, and it was through either LinkedIn, the networking event that we had met at, or the CSUSM alumni page. So we kind of had a lot of different options to go through. Personally, I'd like to meet in person and, kind of like see what everything has to hold. So I was really intrigued by the networking events that had 2 required for that assignment.
Okay.
So that one, or I believe that was required for the class, but it definitely aided in our assignment, which is the presentation that we have to do. So we have 5 people. I found you at one of the networking events, and you set up an interview with them, ask them about how it all started, and everybody comes together. So everyone in your group brings, I believe it's 1 to 2 to 3 people, kind of see what similarities and differences these people went through,
Okay.
And put it through a presentation and go through it. So we have ours scheduled pretty soon, which will be fun. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Your presentation is scheduled soon, you mean?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So, so then that's when I just thought, well, if you have to interview, why not interview me?
Right.
Here.
Exactly. Yes.
So that's when the tables turn, guys. And like I said before, this was going to be a unique show. So I got to take off my interviewer hat and become the interviewee. So it's your turn, Nicolina.
Great.
Welcome to Velocity, the Vista Chamber podcast, where we dive deep into Vista's heartbeat. Join engaging conversations with local heroes, movers, shakers, and changemakers shaping Vista's spirit. Tune in anytime, anywhere for a personalized connection to community stories. Velocity goes beyond info. It's a bridge connecting Vista's diverse voices. Hosted by me, Chamber CEO Rachel Beld. Powered by the Vista Chamber of Commerce, your go-to for the heartbeat of Vista's vibrant community.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Jeff.
And we're the hosts of I Like Beer, the podcast. Teachers by day, beer drinkers by night.
We promote local breweries. We toast, roast, and pour one out for all things beer and life related.
Come play beer or not a beer with us.
Find us wherever you get your podcasts at I Like Beer, the podcast.
Awesome. Alrighty. So let's jump right into it. So how did you get started and what was your process? What was your schooling plan, and did it initially line up with what you are in today? How was that for you?
When I was in school, I didn't know what the heck I was going to do at all. And I wasn't studying business. In fact, where I wound up in was in radio, television, and film. So I'm going to focus on the insurance agency because that's my main business, right? The podcast is just another fun thing that I do. It's another business, but this one came later. But focus on the insurance business, I got into it in 2003 after quite a journey. But I graduated high school, Leland High School, 91, went over to De Anza Community College just to, get some units and see what I was going to do. I was always working. And then when I wound up at San Jose State in RTVF, that's when I really learned communication. So although there's some similarities there to what I'm doing now in terms of being on the microphone and all of that stuff in radio, communications itself was really where I thrived. Whether that was writing, giving presentations, anything like that. And again, like I said, being on the radio. So that's when I learned that I could gain an audience. And with gaining an audience is when I learned that I could sell. So then what I eventually wound up doing was selling cell phones in the mall. I'm sure you've seen those people, right? Just, hey, come over, talk to us. But I got really good at it, and then just moved up in the company from just being the guy in the booth to managing 43 booths, 43 locations. And that all came from it. And it wasn't because I have a degree in sales or anything like that. It was because I just got so used to communicating. I don't know if that answers your question about how the education focus turned into this, because it wasn't the goal, it wasn't the plan.
Yeah, it just happened. No, that answers it perfectly. Thank you. So you had mentioned kind of communication is what kind of drew you into it. So that's probably what you mean by in choosing this profession. And
okay, so in choosing a profession, that went a little differently. So after I left the phone company, Singular Wireless, my father wooed me back into the family business. My dad had started the business when I was 3 years old, back in 1977. And he said, come work with me and sell insurance. So that also was not the goal. And I'm not sure it was as fun as selling cell phones. Not that selling cell phones was that fun anyway. But, that put me into sitting in an office and, selling insurance, talking to clients, cold calling, getting out and meeting people, all of that kind of stuff. So that's how I got that.
Okay, awesome. And do you find it enjoyable?
The insurance business?
Yes.
That's a hard one to answer. I do find many parts of it enjoyable. you're helping people sleep at night, by ensuring their businesses and their homes and all that stuff, knowing that they're covered. You're getting out to get to meet new people all the time, which I love. Knowing the ins and outs of the insurance business, I don't necessarily find that too fun. It's like learning law. Some people are really into it, just like read the books, learn the, the new codes and all that stuff. Me, I'm not necessarily, I don't find that enjoyable, but I do find enjoyable is about continuing the legacy of the family business.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. I bet your dad must be proud as well.
Yeah, most days.
Yes, awesome. All right, so leads me to my next question. So how crucial would you say making a connection and networking is, and how important was networking to you to get you where you are, if it was at all?
For me, it was everything, because I don't know. I guess I just happen to be good at it.
Okay.
Meeting strangers is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
Shake a hand, learn something about somebody, be inquisitive, ask, I want to know about people.
Yeah.
And it's just crucial to meet new people in business and be able to communicate with somebody that you'd never met before. Somebody comes to you by word of mouth. They send, hey, this is a potential client of yours. Please take care of them. I want that person to hear me, when I start speaking and go, okay, well, Zeke seems like a cool person, and I do want to do business with them, There's a lot that goes into networking. You have to know your stuff, you can't just walk around shaking hands and just smiling and just say, do business with me. There's, you shouldn't, when networking, you shouldn't expect a check, you're trying to make a connection first. So, but I love it. I think it's crucial, at least to my business. Networking is very crucial.
Okay. Yeah. Seems as if it is. So what advice or steps would you recommend for a future career, with it being maybe marketing or insurance or anything? Would you have any kind of advice for that?
I would say, first of all, keep doing what you're doing. Like I said, I am a big fan of people who study business in school. Not everybody who graduates college is going to go into the career that they thought they were going to go into, or the major, but everybody most likely will go into business, and knowing the ins and outs of that makes you always useful. That said, knowing how to be interviewed, knowing how to communicate is also very important, because you never know who you're going to come across, and you have to have the ability to speak to them so that they understand, where you're coming from. Now, there are plenty of people who aren't or can't, and I get that as well. Plenty of people who are introverted. There are people who are on the spectrum, who might just not come across as the person who they really are. But if you were able to tap into their brain power, you get so much from them. So the empathy is important. Understanding of others is important, but that's also, it comes with the communication. Be communicative, be patient in those conversations, and allow people to be themselves and kind of soak in who they are. You don't expect everybody to be the same. If you go into an interview here, don't expect to go into an interview there and see the same person. Be ready to maneuver, be flexible and malleable to whoever you're speaking with, and you'll go a long way.
That was good. I really enjoyed that. So for a day in your life in the workplace, what would you say that looks like? Is it kind of the same thing every day, a little bit different? What would you say it's like? Pretty consistent, or?
If I'm looking at just the insurance industry, as like I said, the insurance business, then it's not always the same. You got to get out and see some clients sometimes. Make sure you touch them. Okay, so here's the thing about insurance. Insurance is a residual based business. So keeping a client year after year is how you make your money. Mm-hmm. If you just have a client for 1 year and then they drop, then you're working twice and 3 times as hard to keep getting new clients. But if you keep your clients, then you're doing well. Now, how do you keep a client? If you're only touching them or talking to them once a year and saying, hey, it's renewal time again. Are you coming back? Pay me again. It's renewal time. Then, they don't really have the loyalty to that. They don't even hear from you. Mm-hmm. But if you're taking the time to care about them throughout the policy period, then now they are like, okay, yeah, of course, Zeke. I mean, we talked a couple weeks ago. Yeah, we already know. I'll take care of whatever. Not so much a stranger.
Yeah.
And so, to me, that's what keeps things alive in working with my clients, is that I'm constantly trying to make sure that they're okay. So instead of just sitting at a desk, just doing quotes, just sending out invoices all day, I try to keep things, a little fun.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Finding little fun things in life is definitely helpful, probably behind a desk.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I know we did talk about kind of the skills that you need, the people, person skills, and being able to communicate. Do you have any others to add to that? In order for to achieve success?
I would say, time management is huge. Mm-hmm. There's only so many hours in the day. You stress yourself to death if you are always behind. Creating your schedule and your calendar for the day, your goals, things that you want to make sure that you knock out in a day. Very important. Another one is delegating. If you have other people around you who have various skills, utilize those skills. You don't know everything. You want people around you who know more than you, and work with them to create, to accomplish the bigger goal. Mm-hmm. Delegating isn't necessarily, manager pointing down. Delegating is like, well, if you do this and you do, it's teamwork. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And you work together to accomplish the goal. So I would say time management and delegation are 2 other, good, important pieces for sure.
All right. I think that concludes the question portion. Yeah. But I want to say that a huge thank you to Same Business, Different Day and Velocity and all that, because those podcasts, going along with I didn't know really what this business world would entail, or I was like, is anyone who's successful they were a little unsure. I want to hear their story. Sure. So I wanted to hear more about that. Mm-hmm. And thankfully we met at the time we did, because that brought me to this. And I've watched the podcast, and it's honestly, it's inspiring seeing people, even local people, businesses, and how much their businesses are flourishing, and them as people are growing every day and trying to just spread the word out of how they got started. And it was not that easy, or it was this easy, and kind of advice and things like that. So I just wanted to say thank you to you and your guests for putting this out here, and really just helping people who are in the same shoe in my position, and kind of in the same boat. Being 19, I'm kind of like, I don't know what's going on, what I should do. But watching these, it reassures me that it's going to be okay.
That's good. And that's dope. I love that. That means that our audience is expanding.
Yes.
That's very cool. Mm-hmm. And you just said 19. Your birthday's tomorrow, right? You turn 20 tomorrow?
It is.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. But thank you so much.
Dope. Thank you. That's like the outro. You just did my outro.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Tell them to tune in or something.
Okay. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much, Zeke, for having me on here. It was awesome being here today on Same Business, Different Day. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Get the algorithm going. And also follow the Instagram, SameBizPod, SameBizPod.
Yeah. Okay. That was awesome. I love it. Peace.